Okay, because we're building out the back of the Range Rover at the moment, starting to get to a point where I'm losing visibility as that parcel shelf grows and more stuff will go on top. So I'm looking at, I was looking at getting a dash cam, and then I thought, actually, what are the people doing? And I think Mark from Overlanding 4-wheel drive, he uses one of these, what do you call now? Autovoxes. So this is a complete camera replacement. That's a lie. It's a complete rear view mirror replacement. You may have seen them around. And this is quite a decent setup of one. So not particularly cheap, but I think they're going to be reasonably worth it. So I'm just going to have a look. There we go. So this is where you get stream media mirror dash camera, 18-month extended warranty. This is the camera itself, which I'm not going to peel off anything yet. Like that. And then in here you've got the various different connections to your car. You basically pick the one for your car. And the wiring looms. One of these will be a GPS, that's a GPS aerial. And one of these will be the rear camera. So that'll be probably a rear camera, which we'll look at in a moment. And the other brackets. This looks like a sprung-loaded clip. So, have a quick look at the instructions. I don't think there's anything underneath that. Nope. And we'll see how these things go. This is the mirror off Range Rover. And to take this off the screen, basically, so as you're facing the screen itself, twist it about 45 degrees and then it pops off. Okay, so I did look at this and I thought, my God, how is this going to possibly fit? I knew it was going to fit. But actually, they have got it nailed. So it's got this funny kind of shape. I'm not quite sure on which side it is. There's a pentagon or something. But in the bag, there is one of these. So what this does, this creates the sliding point for this to fit onto. So this doesn't twist onto the part on the windscreen. You pop this on, and then in here, if I can get it to focus, focus. There's a small area to put a grub screw, and here are grub screws. So you pop it on, get it into the right position, grub screw it in, and then that will fit on. Wonderful. So I'm going to do that now. On the Range Rover there are some, just ignore the fact that this is actually the new mirror. It's going to ruin the surprise, but there are these black clamshell clips that I forgot to film earlier on, and they are literally just, they're in half. So they're held quite gently in place. You literally pull them apart each side and they'll come off and give you access to the mirror. The fitting on the windscreen itself, and what we've got to do, this section here, well, it's difficult with the light, isn't it? It's slightly narrower at the top here than it is at the bottom, and the mirror slides down over this. So the mirror sits like this, and this will slide down on top of. As you'll see from later in the video, I ended up not using the bracket that came with the mirror. I ended up using the original Range Rover one. Since having filmed this and done all the editing, I have received an email from customer services from the manufacturer, and it looks like they do actually have the right bracket, but it would end up using this little piece grub screwed to the windscreen. So you can obviously get it from them, but I think for a firmer fit and just a bit more authentic, I would definitely suggest using the original Range Rover one, unless you were looking to sell the original Range Rover mirror, which I obviously am not going to do. So this whole fitting sequence is needed if you use the bracket that comes with the car. And for the Range Rover, you can't use the one that comes with the actual thing, so you have to send off for it. I don't know whether it's free or charge or not, because I've not responded to their email yet. But probably not going to now, obviously I've fitted it, but they may charge you for the bracket. They may just send one out free of charge, I'm not sure. But certainly you can get the right bracket for the mirror. I just was too impatient and I wanted to use the original Range Rover one. But the rest of the fitting sequence of what I actually did here up until the point where I choose to go the Range Rover route would be the case if you're using the bracket on your car, whether it was a Range Rover or not. That mirror, quite high up, it's going to have to fit, because the closest it fits is about there. So the mirror's going to have to sit quite high up over that, so it might be interesting. But it should be okay. And then once it's in, it should be fine. It just sits on top with pressure. So I want to try and get this into the screen. This goes that way or that way? That way. So it's got to go into the screen that way up. And give it a little Allen key to do that. And then tighten it up. It's difficult in the light, isn't it? And tighten up with the Allen key just here. It's now tightened on with a little grub screw from down here. Oops, from down here. You just see it poking through. That feels pretty tight on there, and it's quite straight. So it can only go that way up because of the shape of it. So I'm going to have to turn around the base of the camera so that it's that way up. Well, it's supposed to go like that way, isn't it? Yeah. So I need to turn the base around. That's all I need to do. So a quick update on the Autovox. So the bracket that comes with the Autovox V5 Pro, I can't actually find the bracket I've taken off. Hang on, here it is, sorry. So this is the bracket that comes with the Autovox for the Range Rover. It doesn't work particularly well, which is a bit frustrating. I'll take that off actually. So I wanted to go for a bit more of a factory look. You can take apart the original bracket here, which basically means taking off the actual cover of the rearview mirror, pulling out the mirror, and then these 4 screws here, which detach this bracket here from the back of the mirror. You then have to get a screwdriver and lever this spring off, which holds it quite tightly in there, stops it from moving around. I don't think you need that going forwards. So that comes off. If I think it's going to be a problem, I'll put it back on. And then you can actually pull the bracket out. Once you pull the bracket out, you can pull the this end off of the ball socket here. And what you'll see is that this cable, which goes all the way through, through the actual mounting plate, through the actual arm itself, that doesn't quite fit through this hole, through this shaft. So you need to get a 10mm drill bit and basically drill it out. Then you have an absolute factory looking rearview mirror arm ready to go. So I'm just gonna pop this back off again. I'm gonna get the little collar on it, a little round collar, this collar, which will then cover it up completely. And it should look pretty sweet afterwards. And there we go. So it does fit on back onto the windscreen as you would want it. And in fact, this should feed up there quite nicely. Oops. This should feed up there quite nicely with this cable and hide it away with the shroud. So I'm just going to go pop the shroud on and see if I can actually tuck it away. Obviously, I want to put the original covers on it. You do have to get this cable through that hole and out the other side, because it feeds up to the top here where there's a hole in the shroud. It's the only way you can do it. It's tight around the sides and around the back. So I'm going to drill that hole out to 10mm, and then it should fit through. Drilled out. Oops. Not a particularly easy thing to do, keeps grabbing at it, but got it through. Once you've got 10mm there, you can poke your cable through, and that will go on and all tidied away nicely. I'll show you. It is in. Bit of a fiddle, get all those the clamshells on, but once they're on, it fits really nicely, and it really does look like the genuine article. So this will get fed up into the head lining. And this is no longer needed now, so this is for the auto dimming rear mirror and stuff, so that is going to get tucked away as well. So those two you won't see. So for the time being, we've got little cables hanging down, but when that gets fed in, they'll be nice. I'm just going to take the camera off the sticker off the lens of the dash cam, and because I got a load of bits and pieces on that, we now have a mirror. Let me just set this back up again. So it's dim, but it actually works as a mirror as well, which is rather handy. It's making some progress. The cable that we're not using, I've tucked up underneath the headlining. My headline's all saggy and nasty anyway. And I've connected the other yellow cable, like a barrel connector, to the main loom, which is here. And I've currently run it. I've taken this panel out, coming at the side here, through here, underneath this main loom, and as you can see, it tucks up into the headlining here. I took the sun visor down to do it, but I don't know if it's necessary. It did help because I managed to get a bit of flex down the headlining to do that. So that's all tucked away. So what I've got to do next, I've got to get the GPS module. That needs to be facing upwards. Most people get this wrong and they end up installing it like this on their windscreen. I've seen it dozens of times. So I'm going to fit it probably about here like that. And then that cabling is going to tuck into here as well. And then the rest down here, this is all, oops, I can get it in one hand. This is all a power cable. So ACC power and constant. Then this connects to the rear camera, and we've got a ground. It's nice and simple. So that is what we're fitting next. Most of the wiring is done now. So we've got the main loom coming down into here. Everything's all tied up inside here. Nice and easy to work on in here actually. We've got the 2 power leads coming through a small hole in the back there, which is perfect. The rest ties up. This kind of becomes like the main place where all the wiring is held, and it all comes down to here from the camera. And then from the reversing camera, I'm working my way backwards. It actually leads back up here. That's what this one is. This one here joins the loom, and now this will feed back up over and into the headlining. And that is where I found the earth. Perfect little place. There's already a bolt sticking out. Stick a nut on the end. Perfect. I did forget to film some of this, so most of it. So I do apologise. It does appear that there is no fuse back there, which is a switch live. They're all ignition live or permanent live, which is a bit of a pain. So I've fed a little yellow wire you can see there. And it goes down. It goes underneath and behind this main panel here. Underneath here, all the way in underneath the glove box. And I tapped it into this lighter socket here behind it. So I've just piggybacked off the back of the switch live on that. I also took the opportunity to drill a hole through, put my 2 USB cables through as well. So I'm going to put a USB charger into that lighter socket to power these cables, and now it works. So when the ignition goes on, wait for the knock. There we go. Now, on it comes. So that was not too bad, but it's a nice tidy. I mean, you wouldn't even know it's not factory. I'm quite pleased with that. I've run the wires back to tidy them up a little bit, all the way back to the boot, and I just got to do the camera now. We're going to install the camera, the rear camera, this morning. So I've just temporarily wired it in to make sure it's actually working. And before I start wiring it all up, there's Olo in the background. Oh, there's Jean's upside down face. Right, so the camera. So to put the camera on the boot lid, it comes with this little clip. I thought it was the sprung-loaded thing. It's not. It's just a little flappy job, which you tighten up into the right position. And then the camera itself has a little flip-out pad. And then the plan is to get this to sit on there as centrally as possible. By putting it in the middle, I can with a bit of height on it, I can actually move it around a little bit so to avoid the heating elements of the windows as much as I can. And then I'm going to I may even put a little hole in this panel, pop the cable through that, and then feed it back through into the boot. So let's see what we're going to do next. So this rear panel comes off Really easy. Literally just give it a yank, off it comes. Sticky pad from the back of this thing comes off, and then pop in one of these self-tapping screws that don't come with the pack. These little things, but I've got dozens of these from building that rear storage thing. Perfect for going through plastic. So it's pretty safe. There is a wiper motor obviously behind it, but there's loads of room to come through. And as it happens, the screw, it's basically here, so it's next to this little clip. So all good. I've then drilled I don't know, like an 8mm hole, I think, something on those lines. Hang on. 7.5mm hole. Popped it through. I've got some rubber grommets because I just like keeping things tidy. So I popped a grommet on as well, and now this can be stuck to this rear panel. So basically there's a little sticky pad on here. Take that off. You stick it onto the actual panel, and then you move it into the right position. All good. This isn't particularly stiff, so I'm hoping it doesn't kind of flop around and when you go over bumps, it doesn't sort of like sag down, but it should be okay. There doesn't appear to be anywhere to tighten it up, so fingers crossed it should be okay. To actually utilise this existing rubber section that joins the loom from the boot to the actual car. So get one of these fishing wires, they're quite handy. I'll actually call it fish line or something, fish tape.
It's called steel fish tape.
Fish tape. Managed to pop it down, get it through there, out through the other side under the headlining. Don't worry about the headlining, it's a bit knackered. We're just now tying a piece of cable to it, which I'll feed back through, which I'll then be able to get a better purchase on the actual cable coming from the camera. That's the plan. So the fish line, managed to get this cable through, which I'll then tie this camera cable to. Feed it back through, and I'll come through that, and then I can tie it all up in there nice and neatly. Well, if you can do it, you're a better man than me. But either way, we've managed to get the loom cable down through. We've got to bypass this grommet, so it just tucks up underneath it, as you can see there. And again, on here as well. So it doesn't go through this conduit, which is a bit annoying, but I cannot get it through. It's just too tight. With rubber, gripping rubber, it's just impossible. Even with a fish wire, it's just not going to do it. So that's now come through into the headlining space, which I can then now join up with the rest of the cables. So that's all tucked away back in there now, all nice connected up. All that's left is this reverse light lead. So obviously the reverse lights are in the tailgate. So you need to go underneath the tailgate, and you'll see there's a loom that pops out of the tailgate here. And in there, if you disconnect this, pull it out, you'll see that there are two yellow and white, I don't get it to focus or not, yellow and white wires. They are for each of the two reverse lights. So you need to tap into one of those, which is what I've done. Terrible focus, sorry. Tap into one of those yellow and white wires. I've used a blue wire because that's basically what I've got lying around. And then feed that around underneath the loom, attach it to the loom so it doesn't move around. And then I need to attach it to this red wire. So I'm just going to lift this up so I can get it underneath it, because I think I can probably feed it underneath, but it's not so easy. So I'm just going to pull it up quickly and then attach it to it and then tidy it up. That should be the end of it. If you just pull this one panel out, you've got a nice bit of feed through there. So just pull that one panel out. So we're all done now. Actually, you couldn't really see it. Camera, hang on. So the camera's all in. Really tidy install. Cable goes through, around, tags alongside that one, but not through it. Underneath here, behind the speaker panel. These speaker panels are a pain in the backside to get back in as well. Everybody else has that same problem. And then run the cable down, reverse light down to here, reverse cable. Take a feed off the yellow and white along my little blue cable there. Join those two up. Works perfectly now. So automatically goes into reverse, which is great. So now ignition on. We have a rear view mirror now, so I can see, I can't quite see where I am. I'm going to take it for a drive in a moment and get it set up, because I think you can zoom out a little bit if you need to. We've got that, and when you put it into reverse, automatically puts the rear camera yes, probably puts that parking thing on as well. So you can, parking sensors. So it puts the parking lines on as well, which is a little handy little thing. But you can set those up as well so it fits the car and how you got the camera angled as well. You can angle the camera down a bit more, however you want to do it. But that's really good. Tons of features this thing. So you can put the front camera on as a split view, which is great. So you can have I don't know. Hang on. So you can have split front and back, which is quite funky. So I can see what's being recorded on the front, but I've also still got a rear view mirror. So I'm not entirely sure I really want that, but if you fancied. So you can have the front mirror, front camera, sorry, or the rear camera. Now, obviously, that's how I want it. So that's the end of the Autovox V5 Pro install. Thanks for watching. And if you'd like to see more installs, more customization for the Range Rover and other bits and pieces, please do consider subscribing. And I'll see you next time. Thanks.